Welcome to the Good Lie and the Greater Good. What I want to talk about today is the Florida law that Governor Ron DeSantis just signed that helps property owners get rid of squatters. Now, a little backstory: there is some precedent for squatters' rights when it comes to property owners being aware of the squatter and the squatter improving the property. This usually has to do with like wide open spaces in the middle of nowhere, where in an agricultural type based society, probably doesn't have a lot of relevance to today, where you have people occupying unused property in urban areas. Now, the bill basically allows property owners to rent sheriffs and have them stand by as they remove people that are illegally in the property. Now, again, when it comes to property rights, and this is the important thing when it comes to property owners and them renting out space, because if we have some type of lack of housing crisis that's going on in the country, it's primarily caused by government getting involved and making taxes and regulations that are almost impossible for property owners to rent their property out to people out in society. So in this case, with Governor Ron DeSantis, I mean, you don't have to do a lot as a government, because one of the main things the government is there for is to help facilitate the consenting activity between adults when it comes to the exchange of goods and services. You want a government to make that easier. You don't want to make it harder. So again, if I have a property and I want to rent the property out to someone else, or I want to sell the property, I don't want the government to get in the way of that. The government should just grease the wheels a little bit. And I bring that up reading Basic Economics by Thomas Sowell, and how he said like that's what the government should do, is they should grease the wheels, instead of like actively impede everybody's progress. So in this case, like, it doesn't take a lot for Florida in this case to make housing more available to people by telling property owners that we will support your right to own property. So remember, property ownership, private property ownership, comes down to the fact that I should be able to reap the rewards of my time and my effort in the ways that I want. So again, money and property are my investment in myself and how other people see that investment. So in this case, if someone owns property, or theoretically could own property, but that the government doesn't guarantee your right to it, then what is the incentive for anybody to own it? So from a property standpoint, like, that's one of the biggest things that someone can do in the meantime between owning property, i.e. houses, before they're able to have the ability to do so, is to rent. And if you're taking away property owners' ability to engage in that marketplace, yeah, you're going to have a housing market crisis. So something very simple as allowing someone to fill out a form, request the sheriff show up, have the actual public, the property owner, pay for the sheriff's time so they can remove people that shouldn't have been there in the first place, is going to actually incentivize more property owners renting their stuff out, buying property in order to rent it out. And on top of this all, it's going to disincentivize squatters from coming in and taking over private property that's not theirs. Because again, if squatters were coming into these properties and improving them for free, I'm sure that property owners may not have quite the same problem with the squatter coming in and improving them. They're not improving them. They're probably, as this actually talks about, making the penalties for moving into a house, and destroying property worse. So again, you're looking at how can a state, the government, make things, facilitate things for the people. And one of the things they could do is just essentially do nothing sometimes, and other times it's the little things, the appearance, the illusion that they will support someone's right to do something or to have something. In this case, that's all Ron DeSantis is doing, is basically saying, oh yeah, we may have a problem, we're going to deal with it. And now, and this is the other thing, is that when you have competition between the states and the United States, when you have competition between the states, they have to actually try and outdo each other. So this is yet another thing where when the government of Florida supports property rights within their states, they're going to start pulling potential owners of property, i.e. renter, people that would rent their property, apartments, to Florida in order to not have a housing crisis in Florida, which will actually drive the prices of renting or buying property down in Florida, solving the property solving the housing market shortage in the process, and then only making it worse in states like California that suck at life when it comes to having a greater housing market crisis because they are not supporting property rights and they have too many taxes and regulations. To get even worse, when I start thinking about how much this irritates me, that you have property that is either being left vacant for tax write-off purposes or just being abandoned by the property owner because it's not worth the effort to run it out. And this is going on in like New York where they have other things like rent control. So yeah, this is something that like probably shouldn't need to get done, but is at least on paper. So it says, hey, come to Florida. We don't suck.